And the first line is the approval of minutes. And is that for December 15th?
Correct.
Is there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion. You're talking about the 15th and the 22nd?
Should we do both at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay, for the 15th and the 22nd, okay.
I'll second.
We've got a second. Okay. Any comments? Kit?
Aye.
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 Motion passes, aye. Motion passes. Okay, the approval of December financial statements. Did everybody get a chance to look them over?
I'll make a motion to approve the December financial minutes.
Okay. We've got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have to go right around or?
Yep, roll call.
Okay, Kit?
Aye.
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 Aye. And then we have approval of fund transfer from individual funds to general account per NDCC and a creation of new accounts, Social Security, advertising, emergency snow, pension, and insurance reserve.
We went through that when we were doing the budget, that there was going to be a number of funds that were going to be combined into the general fund. The funds that it impacts are library, airport, that are not impacted are the library, the airport, and the emergency snow. Those funds are to remain separate per century code. The ones that can be rolled into the general account are forestry, insurance reserve, pension, social security, and advertising. We currently have separate funds for those, but they all come out of the same checking account. I guess for our purposes, it's my recommendation that we leave those funds separate. The restrictions on the use of the funds has loosened so that we can use the money in different ways, but as far as the tracking of the funds that come in, I think for our purposes, it's best just to be able to still have those separated out. The report that we get from the county, it will come in one lump sum, but we'll just make a spreadsheet that will separate it back out, and then we'll apply it back to the funds as we normally do. Is anybody opposed to that?
We need to-
I don't think so. I do have a couple others. You can make a motion to leave it if you'd like. That's always.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion for that.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Kit?
Aye.
Noel?
Aye.
And I.
Also what we have with the financials, since it's the beginning of the year, we try to clean up. First of all, I need an official motion to have Sharon put onto the accounts at Farmers Security Bank for we do our banking, that when she calls in my absence, they'll be able to release information to her about the accounts. Right now, they won't talk to her without my approval. So it would be helpful.
I'll make a motion to put Sharon on the bank accounts.
And that's not as a check signer, it's just as information only if we were to need it, so.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? If not, Kit?
Aye.
Noel?
Aye.
Aye.
And I.
All right, next with that, we have, in the array of bank accounts that we have one bank account that's, it's the water treatment upgrade account is what we call it. We have a substantial amount of money in that account, however, it's just a regular savings account, so we're not generating as much interest with it as we do the others at an MMDA. So that the money markets are at 0.35 and the water treatment plant's at 0.1. It's a lot of interest that we're losing, so I would like to change that water treatment account over to a money market account. So we'd be closing the one and opening the other for the better interest rate. We generally have about $500,000 in that account, so the interest is substantial that we're losing out on.
You get a checking account with gains interest.
We had, and we can, but that, for that one right now, we have a lot of different things that are tied to that account and stuff, so.
All right.
Okay, do we have a motion on this?
You wanna put it into a money market account?
Correct. And I can check into the different options and see which one's better and then come back next month if you'd like.
Well, it don't matter. Obama ain't paying nothing anyway. I'll make a motion to approve your
Okay.
water treatment fund into a,
Money market.
I need glasses, money market.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
It's
Okay.
something to fix in, will that be like a fixed rate?
The others are that we have.
I mean, that ain't gonna go down on us at all, but.
Okay. Kit?
Aye.
Noel?
Aye.
Dwayne?
Aye.
And I.
Next we have a checking account that's for the municipal judge, all of the fines going to it. It's just a pass-through account. We generally have a $35 balance in there, and then, the judge deposits the fines that he gets into that account, and then he sends a check to us, or leaves a check for us, and then we deposit, and then we reimburse it back. So, long story, we would like to close the municipal judge account, and it'll just go straight into the general fund, and then straight back out. And we've talked to Lauren about that today, and, yeah, it'll streamline a lot.
From the books that come out as a separate account, which is, will be in the general fund.
Yeah, well, the fines that we get right now from the municipal court, they are in the general account now, why it is a separate actual checking account. I don't know if it's because Lauren used to be up at the courthouse, and so maybe it was easier for that, but for what we're doing right now, when it's all right out of this office, it's not necessary.
Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Okay. Kit?
Aye.
Noel?
Aye.
Dwayne? And I.
Next, we have when the bond deposit came in, or bond came in, it was transferred into our general fund, and we need it in the water treatment account, water treatment upgrade account, so I need a motion to transfer $695,000 from the general account to the water treatment upgrade account.
Okay, I'll make that motion to transfer the funds to the water account.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? If there's no discussion, Kit?
Aye.
Noel?
Aye.
Dwayne? And I.
Done.
Okay, where did you leave off? Are we at the
Number
first reading of the
7.
pet ordinance?
Nope, we are at, number 6.
Number 6, designation of official depository of funds. And I believe it's the Farmers Security Bank now.
Correct.
So do we want to just keep it at the Farmers Security Bank? Okay, if so, we need a motion.
I'll move to keep the funds at Farmer Security Bank.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? No discussion? Kip?
Aye.
Noel?
Aye.
Aye.
And aye. And the next one will be the first reading of the pet ordinance.
And Larry's gone, so we should wait.
We'll wait on that one.
Wait on what?
On the first reading of the pet ordinance?
Oh. I just had it. I didn't hear.
Oh, sorry.
And that leads us to Carol Shaw, library request for salary reimbursement, raise and bonus. You wanna come on down?
You'll be glad to know I'm not here to ask for money. We actually have money in the budget. We just need to talk a little bit about how we propose to spend it. I wrote out a little handout, but I'd really rather tell it to you first. That's okay. We've pretty much got 3 things that the library board would like to do with the money in our salary budget for the librarian. The first one is, we actually, when we hired Liz, we quoted her a wage of $13 an hour as the librarian. Now, the wage that the librarian gets paid, the first 90 hours are paid by the McLean Mercer Regional Library, and then however many hours remain in the month are paid by the city. It's kind of a floating target. McLean Mercer paid less than 13 an hour, but we wanted to put our wage higher so that it would balance out and the combo rate would become $13 an hour. And we guessed where we thought that would fit. So we set the city rate at $14.75 when we hired her, figuring that the combination of McLean Mercer's wage and our wage would turn out to 13. Didn't quite work that way. We overestimated how many hours we thought she would be putting in. She's been really efficient with her time, and so when we looked at the year end, actually her wages came out to something like 57 cents an hour short of $13. I haven't calculated the whole year. I had a 4-month sample of her hours just to kind of give us an idea, and it looks like that's about $60 a month, that 57 cents. So I would, I'm speculating again because I haven't talked to Joan and calculated out the number of hours, but I'm guessing somewhere between $700 and $750 for 2015 is what we owe her as far as coming up with her wage that she was quoted when she was hired. I'm not sure how to handle that from an accounting standpoint. It's not technically an error, it's just that we have an obligation to pay her a certain rate, and we based it on a moving target and based it incorrectly, so. That's my first one.
I did do some calculation, and just what I figured up is off of what you had requested, it would be $676 for 2015. And that was just based.
Bless your heart.
That was, it's kind of my job. But that's based off of 1,080 hours for the McLean Mercer Regional Library. You said she gets 90 hours a month, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, and then she had a total of 231 hours with the city. So, and just going through, dividing it out, it came out to about $12.48 an hour is what she made with the combination of the two. So,
What was the city rate? What did we give her for an hour?
$14.75, but it's because it's so few hours that are actually ours.
Is there a solution, so like for the next year?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. When I get to the race part, I do have a solution for that, but didn't help us for last year. All right, you want to hear them all at once, or? Okay.
Sure.
Next one. For 2015, we also want to give Liz a bonus, a year-end bonus of, the board voted $400 to recognize how well she's done with the responsibilities and the duties. When we hired her, like I said, we set the wage at $13 an hour, which was under budget, but we wanted to leave ourselves some room between a starting librarian and an experienced librarian. And so we actually anticipated that at some point mid-year, we would reevaluate and give her a raise. And I failed to get that done. That was me. So in December, instead, we voted to pay her a bonus for 2015 of $400, just to recognize that she's demonstrated competency way beyond the starting wage. She's doing an excellent job for us. Okay, that's the second one. Third and final is a raise for 2016. And we do still have room in our budget to give her a raise, even though we did not specifically earmark money in our budget. We still have enough as far as what's budgeted for wages for the librarian. She is gonna take on additional duties at the library, in addition to what she's already been taking responsibility for. She's going to take on the bookkeeping and bill paying duties. Obviously not the bills that go through the city that Joan and Sharon handle, but we also have our discretionary accounts and bills and bookkeeping that we need to keep up with that. And so we're going to pass that responsibility on to her. And so we'd like to give her a raise that reflects, additional responsibilities. Now, for 2016, we did learn our lesson. We're not gonna come up with a specific combo rate that's our target that we hope to hit. We just voted to increase the city portion of her wage to $15.25. Now, that's important that you don't think of that as her total hourly wage. That's not what she's gonna get paid the whole time. The first 90 hours of every month still go to McLean Mercer. So we're not promising a specific combination rate. We're just going to put the increase under the amount we have control of. Just the increase that we can manage on our own.
So does McLean Mercer send you like a lump sum?
No,
Or
they
do
pay her
send you-
directly.
They pay you direct?
They pay Liz. She has to turn in hours and then they pay her.
And there's no way that we could give them the hours and they could just send the city the money and then we could pay her an hourly wage?
No.
You know what I mean?
The
So it wouldn't
only-
be so convoluted?
We could, well, let me think, how did we do? I remember talking about that last year when we first hired her. It was a case of totally changing over to one employee or the other. I honestly don't remember what they said.
You know, I was just thinking if, let's say, she worked 10 hours and they pay her $12 an hour, if they would just send us the $120 and then we would pay the employee the same amount every single time. You know what I mean? So
I
we'd
know
have
what you
to,
mean.
you know.
And I
maybe
know
you
there
guys
was,
have already
I know
thought
there was
about
some
that, but-
reason that we didn't do that at the time we hired her, but I don't honestly remember what it was.
So
I can
how
check
many
it.
hours a week are you basing the 15-20? So how many hours do you think she'll work for the city at that rate? Or with the city portion, how many hours do you think that city portion
I
will
don't think
pay?
it's gonna be considerably different than what she's working now. The, it's kind of a moving total, but I have May, June, July, and August. May, she worked 22 hours for the city for the month. June, it was 28 and a half. July was 11 and 3/4. August, it was 18. So even, it kind of averages around 22. Even if she worked 30 hours a month with her new responsibilities, we would still be within budget, like substantially that.
And that has also been with the new person that you're hiring also?
Well, the new person will be, we have a separate budget for assistant librarian.
Well, I just have one, just, the library is just one budget for wages for the library.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
have,
When we're,
I don't
when we were
have,
granted the money, they kind of laid out, this was the salary for the assistant librarian and this was for the librarian. So I guess I think of it as separated, but yes, the assistant librarian is still under that. That's not on my list, but yes, we do need to hire a new assistant librarian, and we've started to advertise, but. Anyway, it can be like one of those, that's pretty much what I thought I said.
Then Julie, you're on the board. So then, the raise should pretty much take care of the issue as far as the, having to pay the extra at the end of
Yes.
the year for the most part.
Yes.
And is that something you guys would be interested in, if it would work out?
I'm gonna check with McLean Mercer just to ask
And then you
him
and-
what the
you guys-
logistics are and
guys
kind
and
of
Joan
refresh
can work it
myself as
out?
to why it wouldn't work last time.
I would think it would be easier for both her and us if she just said, she just
Yeah.
turned in one time card and we just
Yeah, two employers
gave
is,
her a check and
is
away
always
she goes.
interesting. Yeah, I will check with them.
Okay, so I suppose the first one would be the underpayment for 2015. Not sure what everybody's thoughts are, but do we have a motion for the underpayment of 2015? And I believe it would be $676, Joan said.
Well, how did we come up short in the first place? I guess I don't get,
Well,
I mean, obviously she must have worked more hours. This
No.
90 hours, I don't remember nothing of that being
well.
part of that when we went through this, when was this, last year, year before?
It was November of 2014, right before we hired her. McLean Mercer Regional Library pays 12 something. I'm sorry, I don't have that number in my head, but that much per hour, and we wanted our librarian to be paid more than that. So, yes, we collected, they pay her the first 90 hours at that rate, and then we pay the smaller amount of hours that we pay at $14.75, so that they would kind of balance out and try to end up with all of her hours being the equivalent of $13.
But she worked less hours, so you
Right,
kept
so-
paying her at the lower rate.
So we had more hours. The 90 really overbalanced how many hours we could pay her from the city.
So I guess, to me, I don't see how we did wrong on that, I guess.
We didn't, we just took a guess as to how many hours we thought it would take to balance out those 90, to give her the extra 40 cents or whatever it is for those 90 hours, and we guessed wrong. We thought that she would work enough
So-
hours to balance
So
it
you
out.
told her, we told her that she was gonna get paid a certain amount an hour, assuming that it would all balance out.
Right,
But when she kept getting paid at that lower rate, more often than not, they brought the hourly wage down.
right.
That's what's.
Brought the average down.
Average down.
What did we say on that meeting, how many hours a week that she was gonna have there? Do you remember, or is there?
Nope,
I think I remember, I thought it was around 30, right?
yeah.
I didn't bring those notes with me, I'd have to do a little research.
Um,
look into it.
We figured the average about 35 hours. That was guessing of what it had been previously, just trying to come up with a number of what we thought. But it was a guess.
So that's what we figured that she would work was 35 hours a month, or a week, or what was it? A week.
That's the other thing that's complicated, is that McLean Mercer pays once a month, and we pay every 2 weeks, so tried to come up with what does that mean, it's per hour.
Well, then we're gonna have to switch and pay once a month too to make it.
No, actually, I think we're
So,
okay, we just need a little bit more of a boost to that salary.
so what are we,
Yeah.
let's say that we were able to have McLean County or McLean Mercer pay the city. What's the ultimate wage that we want for next year? If it all was the same and they got one salary, what would that wage be?
I don't know. I deliberately did not calculate one of those because I didn't want another moving target. I didn't want to tell Liz that, yes, you're gonna get paid this much an hour, or this is our goal. We just tried to come up with a number that reflected that we appreciate how much she's learned and how much she's taken on, but we didn't come up with a goal.
Okay, anything else? Do we have a motion?
Not yet.
So you think it'd be better just to pay her one, like just a salary a year?
It sure would be nice to not have the
Because
two
you,
groups, you know, that
right,
would-
you figure 90 hours, that's damn near the whole month that McLean County, Mercer County are paying her. So I don't even think you're gonna come out at it at, would you wanna go up to
15,
15.25?
Yeah,
So you're only going up $1?
50 cents.
50 cents, yeah. That 50 cents ain't gonna get, I don't think that's gonna get you nowhere near what you want either, is it?
I think it should. I don't know exactly what McLean Mercer is paying this year, but I'm pretty sure that they are also raising their salary to some degree. I don't know that it's substantial, but I know that it's something. I don't
Well,
want to speculate on what it is, but
Let's don't speculate, and let's don't guess anymore, I think. Let's get together with McLean and Mercer and get together with them, have a meeting, and let's get this tied down to, so we know specifically what we have to have.
okay.
I don't want no more guessing, I don't wanna have to have nobody shorted or anything like this. We gotta be able to get with them, and Dwayne, if you can get with them, or whoever wants to go there, I mean, just
You two.
work something out there where, so we know what their rate's gonna be, and that's, you know, how that's gonna set, if that's gonna stay there for 2 years, 3 years, you know, I mean, I don't know how they work,
Yeah, I
so.
don't know if they have.
So
that.
probably hold off on voting on a raise this time, and then you guys will come back with numbers, and
Okay.
then we'll have that specifically,
Okay,
once you guys have exactly the way you want it. But we do have to deal with the other two situations, the
Mhm.
underpayment and the bonus.
Can we do it in one motion?
I suppose.
Okay, I'll move to pay Liz the $676 underpayment plus the $400 bonus per the library board's recommendation. For a total of what, $1,067?
Okay, we have a motion,
I'll second that.
and we have a second. And the only thing that I would add is when we do the bonuses from now on, if we can just keep in mind what the city gave the city employees, so it's fairly comparable, just because if we give the city employees, let's say 150, and then somebody else gets more, it kinda, you know,
well, and I don't anticipate it being the
Yeah.
same situation next year because we don't have a starting wage
Yeah.
and all of that.
but
But yeah, I
just so we
understand what
keep
you're
it in mind.
saying.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion besides what I just said?
Yeah, I think you're right on that, to that point.
Any other discussion? Kip?
No, just because of the bonus, I think is a little too much.
Aye.
And I'll say aye, and the reason I'm gonna say aye is because a committee got together and already decided on this. And, you know, I hate to go over another committee. It's hard not to get those people on this committee. So, but I understand your point. So the ayes have it. Thank you.
Yep.
And just let us know what you guys decide on that.
And then you'll also check to see if they can just, the money can just come straight to the
I will
city and
talk
straight back
to
out.
McLean Mercer and see what we can find out.
Okay.
Thank you guys.
Thanks.
Thanks, Carol.
Okay. The next thing, if I'm looking at it right, is the municipal judge annual report.
He just gives a quick rundown every year. Cases brought before the court, he had 221 administrative cases, 3 non-administrative, a total of 224. The fines levied in 2015 were 6,226, compared to 5,874 in 2014. We have 72 unpaid violations from 13 through 15 with an amount of levy costs, $2,597.
And for a while, weren't our fines down quite a bit, and you must have caught up a little bit?
No, actually, they're, yes.
And what do we do about the 72 unpaid violations? Anything? Just-
When they go to renew their license, their
Then they-
licenses are
okay.
suspended.
Do we need a motion on any of this? Okay. Okay, now, reduction and relocation of turkey population. Oh, am I jumping ahead?
Well, we had just a different one, but that's fine.
Okay.
Just, this was, Kit had stopped in today about the floor at the hall and bleachers.
Oh, yeah.
They
Oh,
wanted to
okay.
bring up.
Memorial building floor and bleachers would be the subject. What do we got, Kit?
I got approached by somebody from the school board. They are getting new bleachers in, the new gym. And they're gonna tear out their old ones. They were wondering if we wanted some of them bleachers for the memorial building. And they would go on the west side, right by the bathrooms where it's kinda indention there. But he doesn't know how they're gonna come apart. If they come apart completely tear down or what they'll do, because I don't think we'd be able to put a whole thing of them in there. I think they might stick out too far maybe to the floor side. But it's just something, I suppose this summer or whenever they plan on doing that, maybe you might have heard when they plan on getting that stuff or whatever. So that was one deal. If we want them, we can just have them. They're gonna donate them to there. And another one was, they're gonna strip down the new gym floor completely, tear it down, redo it, repaint it, new graphics, everything. And with that coming in, they would like to see if the city would be willing to refurbish the floor in the memorial building. Have that all stripped down, all redone, new lines. And they're trying to see if it maybe be a little bit cheaper to get both of them done at the same time. And the school is possibly be willing to pay for some of that cost in order in return for them to kind of have rent-free for life, which, I mean, we don't charge them anything now, but if they would need that place that
Like
for a game, a practice, or anything of such sorts, that they would probably have precedence over some stuff, I would think, you know. Possibly not, but
Yeah.
just, the school calls and, you know, they'll have probably first pick at it, I would
They
say.
do now. We generally, whenever they need something, we generally
Sure,
rearrange
yeah.
it now, so.
And I believe they're not talking about actual tightening up the floor or anything like that.
No,
Pretty
no.
much just be a refinish.
It'll just be a refinish, yeah, they'll just strip it down, clear coat it,
Kind of a basic, cheapest
right,
form.
reline it and, you know, anything extra, I don't,
And I think a full, you know, refinishing of the floor is somewhere between 9,000 and 14,000.
I think what their quote was for everything out there, I'm thinking it was 14.
Yeah,
And that's a lot of artwork,
Yeah.
a lot of extra lines.
and some work on the floor and.
Right. And I don't know if we would wanna put in the volleyball lines on that floor.
I don't think there's any volleyball standards,
Poles
are
for
there?
the nets, right?
there's holes in the floor for them though.
I think
Oh, is
there
that-
are, they used to have a volleyball.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, okay.
I mean, you know, that,
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know how often volleyball gets played up there anymore. They always go to the
I
old
think they
gym.
used to have a league though, years ago.
So that's something to think about.
I will say that, everybody's done such a nice job of, improving the hall and air conditioning and everything else. It's definitely something to think about.
I think it'd make it a lot more appealing when you walk in there. It's just kind of dark and grungy when you walk in there now, it seems like, and
Yeah.
because the floor is dark, if we did a lighter coat to that floor and lightened it up, that would make everything so much
Yeah.
brighter and nicer,
Would then the bleachers be able to push up against the wall? Is
Right,
that
they'll
what
be
we're
the
doing?
ones that are in the
Okay.
school right
Okay.
now. Yep.
Okay.
They're just
That's
gonna
all I
get
was
rid of them.
wondering.
Yep.
So you still had that space
Yeah.
Right,
not in use?
right.
Okay,
Except for what, I don't know what are they?
whatever.
Yeah.
Columns type of thing.
Yeah.
Good enough.
So that's something to think about. I guess I'll probably know more after tonight at their meeting there. I got approached at the game on Friday night, I think it was, so.
Well, it definitely doesn't hurt to probably get like a quote or something and see where it stands.
Yeah, that's,
Anybody have any thoughts as far as the floor or any bleachers? Any thoughts about that? Dwayne?
Well, we got 10,000 in the budget for the building. As far as bleachers, I don't wanna see them. We got events where they use that area. As far as the floor, I'd go for it. We got some issues on the outside, this side of the building that need to be done. As far as stripping that paint off and repainting it. Got drainage problems there. We did put 10 grand in the budget for this year.
Okay. Yeah, and I think those bleachers would be pretty tough anyway, just because even if we had bleachers there and you're sitting there, there's that big wall with the bathrooms and that, so I don't know
No,
how much good they'd be anyway.
they've cut them in half.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't be able to see anything anyway if,
yeah, and I don't know how
Yeah.
they work, if a guy could, pull, if we could just get like a half of it. And then, if that half would fold up enough, a guy could just roll them out a little ways and, or whatever, but.
Like Dawson Scholars, they put up their area there.
Yeah.
But these only, Dwayne, when they're folded up, they only take up that much room against the wall. They're a pretty self-contained unit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
You've seen 'em, you
I
know,
agree,
yeah.
I agree with Dwayne, we definitely don't wanna take away from
Right.
anything else, you know what I mean, where it's, cause how many times are we gonna use bleachers, but if it doesn't take away from anything. then-
Memorial Day, that's where the band sets up.
Mhm.
What if they were along the back of the stage?
The band?
No, the
The
bleachers?
bleachers.
Would we, would we want any on the stage?
Well, you see,
Might
we have
fall in.
bleachers on our stage right now.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. No, the reason I ask is because, they're up there quite a bit, and I was wondering if, would we use them, for things? I'm not for or against.
I mean, if they're looking for, if they were looking
More.
to have future games and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Put them up there.
No, it's definitely
Something to look at, I guess, to keep in mind. I know, there's other things that gotta be done to the building, so.
well, I think one thing we probably wanna do is maybe make a motion to at least, accept a bid on it. And then that way, because if the school's going to get one, we might as well make a formal motion to at least, entertain a bid on it,
Sure.
so.
I'll make a motion to entertain a bid for the redoing of the floor at the Memorial Building.
We have a motion,
You wanna go with in conjunction with the school board or the school? With their deal?
Yeah, I'll get in touch with Brad.
I'll second that.
okay, we have a motion and we have a second, do we have any discussion? I guess we did a lot of this discussion already. Okay, no discussion. Kit?
Aye.
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 And aye. Okay. Now we get to talk about the turkeys.
The turkeys, the turkey population is thriving. I had a call from the Game and Fish, and we had contacted them last year after a complaint about the turkey flock. And he's willing to come in. They will trap them up at Swanson's, and then they will relocate them down to Swanson's river bottom. So, and they don't take all of the turkeys, they'll just reduce them.
Okay.
And we still have residents that come in and request that something be done. They're a little overwhelming.
That's at no cost, right?
Correct.
Oh, that's good.
But
Yeah.
they do just they need the official request from the city commission.
We need a motion for that?
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second, do we have any discussion? We're all good with it? Okay, Kit?
Aye.
Noel?
Aye.
Dwight? And aye. The turkeys are gone.
Brian's gonna be devastated.
Only half, we're not getting rid of all of them.
Okay, do we need to, have we did the deputy auditor?
Yeah.
And then we did that one already? And then McLean County Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan
Well.
resolution? Well,
I'll read it if you want to discuss it just a little bit.
Sure. McLean County has redone their multi-hazardous mitigation plan. It's something that has to be done every 5 years. We came in August and asked for mitigation actions that the city had wanted to take. It's gone through the state review and the federal review. Now we just have to adopt the plan. So I dropped off the book, the plan that has the mitigation actions that the city had identified, with the resolution that the city would adopt it. And then after this, once FEMA dollars become available, the city can apply for dollars to complete those mitigation actions.
Ready? Whereas the city of Washburn recognizes the threat that natural, man-made, or technological hazards pose to people and property within our community, and whereas undertaken hazard mitigation actions will reduce and/or eliminate the potential for harm to people and property from future hazard occurrences, and whereas an adopted multi-hazard mitigation plan is required as a condition of future funding for mitigation projects under multiple federal emergency management agency or FEMA pre- and post-disaster mitigation grants programs, and whereas the city of Washburn participated in the preparation of this plan in accordance with the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000, and where adoption of the McLean County Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan demonstrates the commitment to hazard mitigation, and now therefore be it resolved that the city of Washburn adopts the McLean County Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan. Sign both of those, please. And take a motion on it.
okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the McLean County Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan for Washburn.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Kit?
Aye.
Nora?
Aye.
Dwight? And aye. Okay, that's the stuff.
So as part of the 2016 street and utility improvements, we have a number of resolutions to get through this evening. The first one would be resolutions to accept the preliminary engineering reports, cost estimates, and directing the completion of final plans and specs. So, over the last month, we put together two preliminary engineering reports, one specifically for the utilities and one for the pavement. I don't mean to downplay the reports, but basically they say that your streets are in need of repair and that you should replace the cast iron water main that you have, and the tile sewer that you have should also be replaced within the project area that we've looked at the last couple months. The cost estimate, there's a kind of a separate sheet that I had given you guys. The costs are in the preliminary engineering reports as well, but then there was the summary sheet that showed the costs. So the project this year, preliminary numbers are 3.46 million. I think that's, I think last year, just to, or on the 2014 project, just to give you a comparison, I think the preliminary numbers were 4.8 million. So it's, I would say substantially smaller project than what was done in 2014. I guess I would entertain any questions anyone has on the preliminary engineering report. So, we looked at the project areas the last couple months, and then this just sort of details the costs associated with doing that work.
Now, by the elevator, they're going kind of on, across the tracks there. Is that all going to be truck route, as far as nice and thick and everything, going down by River Road, River Parkside Road?
Yeah, so the street going down there and then coming back out, which would be 6th and then, is it 8th?
9th,
Yes, 9th.
9th
and
going
6th.
down and then
Yeah.
6th coming on out.
Yeah,
Yes, those two.
but even across the railroad tracks there, there is some of that asphalt there that you hate to see them coming across there, and it's just a normal road, and it gets torn up where they have to turn to the elevator or go to Riverside Park. You know what I'm saying?
Down on 6th.
You're talking right after you cross the tracks.
Right after you
either
cross
go
the
down the
track.
hill to, down the Riverside Park Road, or you take a left into the.
Right.
So there's actually a space in between there, in between two tracks, where you would, if you're going that way, which I don't think they go that way, you'd hang a left over to go to the elevator. I think typically they're coming out of that way to go up 6th, but I wasn't planning any improvements between those two tracks, just because it's right on their turning radius. Not that we can't do anything between those two tracks, but
Yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking that it's going to be some heavy trucks in there. When they come across those railroad tracks heading towards the,
because right now
Elevator.
they come down 9th to go to the elevator, and then they go back out on 6th. They're not-
but don't they also go to that, what is it, like fertilizer plant, or
Not
they never
anymore.
go over there?
That building's not even there anymore, is it?
One of
Yeah.
them still
One
is.
of them. Between the tracks like that, wouldn't that be the railroad stuff?
Yes, yeah. I mean,
I mean, that'd be
I don't think you're gonna get them to pay that.
Right.
I guess we were just looking to,
No, after you get past the tracks, and then you're still on asphalt, and then you're going to your left, or you can go around the curve
Yeah,
and
he's
go
talking
down.
about the whole Y intersection area.
Right.
After
Yeah.
you pass the tracks.
Yeah, because there's gonna be still a lot of truck traffic in that area.
well, I guess to answer your question, then yes, it would be beefed up.
Okay.
It would be, but I, in my mind, I'm thinking there's a gap in there between the two.
Yeah, he's-
In between two railroad spurs that they,
Yeah, I don't think he's talking immediately between the tracks. I think he's talking
No,
after you
I'm
cross
talking
the
afterwards.
group of tracks.
but
There's nothing.
that's all gravel right now though.
Where are you at?
Right here, when you come here, and then you're going to be trying to
That's all one big gravel area, isn't it, Brian?
Yeah.
But it's gonna be asphalt, isn't it? Because we're going down to Riverside Park.
Mhm.
Like I said, in between those two railroad spurs, I was planning to leave that as gravel.
Yeah, in between them, but right where the red and yellow meet there.
Yeah, I mean, right, I realize it shows that, but right there.
Yeah, there's probably
another
gonna
railroad
let that
spur.
little speck off of there.
So between the main tracks and this spur, so that little spot right there, I was assuming that's state gravel. Cause it's kind of part of the.
I think that the intent, I think, Keith, is just to mill and overlay anything that's already asphalt. So if it's gravel right now, we weren't planning
Oh,
on.
on Riverside Road, yeah.
Yeah.
But not that we couldn't make that.
Yeah, not
We
that
we
we
could
couldn't.
do that, but it's, to me, that was right in their turning radius coming out of there, and I just assumed leave it. You know, that one,
So even
that short span between the two
So between the
spurs,
tracks there, that's still just gonna be gravel?
like it is right now, man. I could be convinced otherwise, but I'm just saying, that's in my head, that's what we were
So
thinking.
so we have the asphalt coming up on Riverside Park Road, River Parkside, whatever. We get to the railroad tracks, and then immediately right after the railroad tracks, there's a space of gravel before we hit the new pavement on Sixth. Is that correct?
Yeah, before you go over the main set of tracks.
Wouldn't we kinda wanna have pavement in that area too?
We can.
You know what I mean? I would think.
With having the pavement right in that area and the trucks turning onto it, is there, even if you beef up that section, is that going to guarantee that that's not gonna get beat up with the angle that the trucks are coming at it?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely gonna take a beating, and that's, that
Regardless.
was why,
Yeah.
that's why I was just assuming to leave it gravel. But like I said, I can be
Yeah.
convinced otherwise.
I'm just saying that, you know, you hate to spend all that money and then someone drives down there and go, holy crap. You know, we spent all that money on this nice road down here and we didn't do this portion, you know what I mean?
Or that you spend the money and it breaks up next year
Yeah,
and they
that's
say
true
they
too.
did a bad job.
That's true too.
And I guess, you know, I guess because it's the road to the park there, that's really the only reason we're even considering it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I guess that's a detail we can work out while we're doing the design too. It's not a make or break situation here.
There is a concrete foundation underneath there though, in between that, from the old standard bulk tanks. So there's concrete that you'll have to remove between those tracks.
Well, the last meeting, I kinda went through some reasons why I probably thought that, this area might not have been the most beneficial spot to go. You know, and that's past, but one thing I'd like to see is I'd like to see the Main Street area at least taken out of the project. You know, it doesn't affect any of the residents as far as assessment or anything like that.
Just this section through the coulee, is that where you're
Through
at?
the cooler. You know, so we wouldn't do an overlay, we wouldn't do anything in that area, we also wouldn't do utilities. And that's, I think Jasper says it would be 250,000.
Two and a quarter.
2.25.
And it would take off the, you know, you got $3.46 million project, so you could take a $250,000 off of that. I mean, if you eliminated the Main Street work.
That was thicker asphalt in that section, cause it was Main Avenue, and, we also had the water main replacement, that was part of that cost.
So about 10.
And redoing the storm sewer inlets at the bottom of the coulee. Now, 10th, I think we would have to leave in the
That's
project,
it.
because otherwise you have one random block in the whole area that you left, so.
So I don't know if you guys have your heart set on that area or not. So I'll move to eliminate Main Street area from the project. Just that one little area with the coulee.
So just to clarify, before we even go through the resolutions, you're making a motion to eliminate the Main Street area? Okay.
Need to call for a second.
Yes, we have a motion, and do we have a second? And again, do we have a motion, do we have a second? For lack of a second, the motion dies. And should we go into motion for a resolution to accept preliminary engineering?
Yes.
Okay, do we have a motion to accept the resolution to accept the preliminary engineering report cost estimate and directing completion of final plans and specs for the districts?
Which district are you in? Can we start with the street improvement?
Sure. We have to do each one separately? Okay, street improvement to begin with.
The pavement one?
Yep.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, do we have any discussion? No discussion? Okay, Kit,
Aye.
Noel,
Aye.
Dwayne,
Nay.
and I say nay as well. Now what?
Now we can represent it next month, or?
Yeah. I mean, there's still two other resolutions here, so.
Will that be a little hard since the street?
I mean, well, that's for you guys
We
to
can
decide,
decide.
so.
Yeah.
Don't really pay to go on to the next one if you ain't gonna pass the street one,
Right,
because we're gonna tear it up anyway, so
right,
table it till next month.
yep.
Okay,
And then, do we have to do anything with the resolution of? we don't
No,
have to
if
do a
you-
protest because
no.
Everything else is done.
Okay, and then the next one would be Jasper, amendment to master service task order agreement, extension to December 31st, 2018. You want to explain that?
So we have a master services agreement that allows us to utilize task orders for doing work. And basically what it is, it's a 50-some page legal document that details, you know, if there's ever a dispute between A2S and the city, we would go back to that master services agreement. It was adopted in 2012 and it actually expired in December 31st of 2014. So basically, all this amendment does is extend it from December 31st, 2014 to December 31st, 2018. It doesn't bind you into doing anything. It details if you do hire us to do something, that's kind of the legal framework behind what we do.
Do you have copies of it,
The original one?
since some of us weren't around?
Oh, yes.
Be amending this?
Yeah, I have the amendment with,
The
yeah.
amendment is just this.
Okay.
Yeah, all it says is, we're changing paragraph. The paragraph that says it, we're modifying section 3.01A to read, this agreement shall be effective and applicable to task orders issued hereunder through December 31st, 2018, where before it read December 31st, 2014.
we have a motion about the extension of the task order agreement?
Make a motion.
I have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, Kip?
Aye.
Aye.
And I.
Just sign that. The owner. Mhm.
I have a signed one, actually.
We're okay?
What's that?
We'll need you to sign this one.
Okay.
And then-
Okay, and the next one is task order number 8, engineering services including 2016 street and utility project, design, bidding, and construction services. And then finally Riverside Park Road, design, bidding, and construction services. What do we need to do on this one?
So basically, this was our task order then to complete the, not only the preliminary engineering, but the final engineering and bid the project and the construction services. You know, given that you guys voted the, more or less voted the project down, I'm not sure what to do with this, other than we've already, you know, pretty much done all the preliminary engineering work, so, you know, I guess I would like to get paid for doing all that, you know, we haven't sent a bill for anything that we've done so far. So I guess I would still present this task order as it is, knowing that, you know, we're not moving forward with anything at this point,
At this
but
point.
at least we have a contract, you know, if you do choose to go forward, or, you know, and then we can get paid for, you know, what we have done so far.
They have done the work.
Okay, no.
It's all here in front of us, so.
Okay, do we have a motion for the task order number 8 for AES 2S, AE 2S?
I'll make the motion. To approve task order number 8 for engineering services.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Kip?
Aye.
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 And I.
Thank you.
Jasper, is there anything that we need to do then at this point to have those, do they need to direct your request that you sent right out that Riverside Park Road? To do anything differently with that, to move forward with that?
Well, I mean, that to me has already been approved by the commission to do that project. And that's in here, so we can continue on that for now.
And I'm guessing that we're probably gonna have a special meeting coming up when Larry can make it, and then all of this will be brought up again. So,
Yeah, and I guess if you guys are, you know, wanna readdress it with Larry, the sooner the better we can.
Yeah.
Cause now we're at a standstill, and,
The bids out.
you know, if we wanna keep on track for, you know, doing the protest period, which is part of the resolutions tonight, and, you know, getting the project completed and out for bid at a reasonable time frame as well, it would, in the next couple of weeks would be appreciated.
And then also included in these would be the seal coating? Is that included in?
No.
That's separate?
That is it.
Okay.
okay, so I suppose letters to the residents aren't, we don't need to worry about that.
Nope.
Okay. Before we get to portfolios, does anybody have anything that's, yep,
Seems like my garbage dumpster got a little smaller from Circle. Am I wrong?
You are wrong,
I
yes.
am, it seems like it, I don't
It
know.
is shorter.
It
but
is
it's-
shorter, but the square inside is the same?
It's still, it's
Yeah.
wider, it's wider,
Okay,
excuse
I'll
me,
go with it
it's
then.
wider on the bottom, so it's
Okay.
still 96 gallon tote.
Okay,
Yep,
Because I've been asked several different people, it's smaller, well, I can tell them they're wrong.
it's shorter,
Okay.
but it is wider,
Yeah,
so.
well, I was just making sure. Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Is Larry gonna be back at all this week, or?
I don't know, I received an email earlier, so I
Alright.
don't know. I'll try to get in touch with them.
Okay.
Have you got a check with the bills?
Which is right now. If you hadn't noticed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Have a good night. Okay, we got portfolio down, Kip, do we got anything?
I got nothing.
Well,
Nothing.
wait, nothing. And the only thing that I have is from McLean Sheridan Water, they still have a few issues with their water quality. They're going to do another month of testing and then get back to us, I guess. And that's all I've got. Bills?
Wasn't that down?
What's that?
That come down though, didn't it, from what it was?
For us, it was very good, but
Okay.
for theirs, it did come down somewhat, but, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but theirs still, they have some concerns. And bills. Everybody get a chance to take a look at the bills?
Make a motion to approve the bills.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Kit?
Aye.
Noel?
Hi.
And I. Anything else? I move that we, do I get to move that we adjourn?
Sure.
I move that we adjourn.
And we are.
I'll second that.
There.
So did you